Scott Wetzel is not for everyone. For instance, sane people who can easily tell right from wrong or strongly urge to change the channel. Doctors Radio declared listening to Scott Wetzel can be hazardous to your health and can cause sickness, strokes, or wanting to take long walks on short piers. Feelings of agitation, dizziness, depression, frustration, and cold sweats are common when listening to Scott. You can have a bad reaction, such as confusion, redness in the face, teeth clenching, fist pounding, wanting to put a fork in your eye, and feeling the need to throw your radio out the window. Listeners have also reported increased swearing, trouble sleeping, and a strong desire to gamble. Truckers and drivers are urged to stay away. Learn from Jack from Arkansas. As for women, don't even think about it.
Oh no, my nipples clearly got erect.
You've been warned. Now, here's your host, Scott Wetzel.
And welcome to the Scott Wetzel Show on this fabulous Thursday afternoon. Yours truly sitting in for the next 2 hours or so as we take a look at the world of sports, a little politics, and of course, regular life as well. You want to follow me on Twitter? Send a tweet. It is at Opposite Picks. That's OPPOSITE Picks, P-I-C-K-S. Email me, go to the website, oppositepicks.com, hit the contact Scott icon, fire away, or just swoppositepicks@yahoo.com. Follow us on our YouTube channel, The Scott Wetzel Show. Hit that like, subscribe button, and fire some comments back and forth. We'll check those out throughout the program today. What's going on, LLs? How are you on this terrific Thursday? I always lead off with the weather. You know, we're past 50, so weather's got to be the number one thing on our mind, right? So thunderstorms coming today. So, in fact, you might hear some rumbling in the background right now, as a matter of fact. If we go off the air, you'll know why. It's not because we overloaded the system. It's because the power went out. But I do have a generator, as the LLs do know. Paid my thousands and thousands. There's a secret part of me. It's really not that secret. I'm actually hoping the power goes out. I really do. We might go off the air, but I'll come right back on a minute or two later. But just to be able to use the generator, I think I spent like $12,000 on it. It's been a little while now. Probably 5-6 years. You know, we had a rash of storms and everything else about 5-6 years ago. My dad passed away, got a little money, and I said, I'm going to do something to improve the house. And I was working in the city at the time and working at night. So younger kids were younger then as well. Actually, it's probably more than 5 years. It's probably about 7 or 8 to tell you the truth. I just didn't want to have to worry about stuff like that. So I had some extra dough. And I said, yeah, why not? Let's throw a generator in the backyard. People said you'll get that money back when you sell the house. But how many times do you really sell the house, right? But still, that is an attraction little thing. Hey, listen, you got to, not just a generator where you got to go out in the middle of a snowstorm and start pulling a crank and hoping this sucker starts, right? I don't want to do that. I'm a big believer, as you get older, and you'll realize this when you guys get older, the older you get, the more you just say, if I'm going to do it, you know what, I'm just going to do it the right way. Otherwise, I just won't do it. I'd rather spend more and get it done the right way versus spend less and still have to worry. If I got to worry about going out in the snow or a rainstorm and hoping some dopey generator starts, hoping I have gas, hoping I've done the oil change and all the other things, and this thing starts up, if I got to worry about it, I got to be home, oh, by the way, right? And again, I was working in the city Monday through Friday at that time at night. I was like, you know what? If I'm just going to do it, I'm going to do it. So spent about $12,000 or so. Got a nice one, starts up every month. You got to get an oil change and all that other stuff. You're supposed to get it every year. I get it every 2 years, to tell you the truth. In fact, this was the second year. They didn't call me, so if they don't call me, I won't call them. So I'll probably wait like another whole year, to tell you the truth. Although I should get it done for the winter time. But anyway, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, got power, go out. Go ahead, knock yourself out. I think in the 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it's been, I think it's only gone out one time. One stinking time, and that was for like 3 minutes, And I was in my glory. It was at night, fortunately, because otherwise, if the lights aren't on, you don't realize it, right? So it goes out for a second, and I'm like, wow, what was that? And then I hear the generator click on, but it clicks on every week just to run for 5-10 minutes. And I go out that side, the front, and I look down the block, and everyone's got black. No lights are on. And there's my house with the lights lit. I'm like, yeah, way to go. $12,000 for about 12 minutes of black air, right? That's basically what it's been. $1,000 a minute so far I paid for the use of my generator. So anyway, if it does go out, stay with us. They'll probably run a couple of commercials. Be on the lookout there, Timmy, and then I'll be back in a couple of minutes once I reboot the computer. So, because everything does shut down. I wasn't sure about that because when it starts every day or every week, once a week, and it runs for like 5-10 minutes, like I said, it doesn't really shut the power off. It just makes sure it works. So I wasn't sure if that's how it would work when the power went off. But it does. There is a little gap there, a 5-second or so gap, maybe not even a 4-second gap where everything in your house does shut down, including the computer. So, all it takes is 4 seconds and then you're screwed. So if it does go out over the next 2 hours, bear with us. I'll be right back. So Black Cloud, Wetzel Black Cloud strikes again. What else is new? Big 12 joins the fray. NFL cancels the Pro Bowl. How about that? Who's in, who's out tonight in the NFL? We got preseason football. Cleveland Browns fans react. Will OBJ make the cut? NFL props lock, maybe, of the NFL season? And MLB comeback for all ages last night. We'll get to all those stories. Again, tweets, emails, and a little YouTube chat as well right here on the Scott Wetzel Show. Yeah, I tell you, going to I didn't have a show yesterday, as you guys probably realized. I had a funeral to go to, so I had to leave the house real early to go over to Jersey in the middle of traffic. These funerals were all in the morning. I don't know whoever thinks about that, but, I know that's probably the last thing on their mind, but it really shouldn't be. But, you hold a funeral at 10 o'clock in the morning, and people are coming from Pennsylvania, South Jersey, Long Island. You know how long you got to give yourself with that morning traffic? Ugh. And I actually got there on time. But I left really early. But the traffic wasn't like as bad as I thought it would be. Believe it or not, I've got across the George Washington Bridge and across Bronx 1,000 times, literally, right? Man, you could go across at 3 o'clock in the morning and there's going to be traffic because of construction or just traffic. Whereas yesterday, actually, it wasn't that bad. It really ended up not being that bad. So I got there in time. But, when you're away for the entire day, it's amazing how, I think anyone that does this, host a show or whatever, you just seem lost. Just lost. I got back last night. Wasn't that bad. It was 7-8 o'clock or so, right? But by the time you get, you unpack, you get settled in, you make something to eat, all of a sudden it just blew. All of a sudden it's 10 o'clock at night, right? The whole day is just gone. And you just miss out on all these stories and you just feel like lost. It's very weird. When you have a routine, I'm a big routine guy. And when you have a routine and that routine gets thrown out of whack, it really just you seem lost on things. So, but I did, fortunately, have time to put some plays in last night as I put them in Tuesday night. So one of them was the Red Sox. I got to tell you, it is absolutely freaking amazing how little the Red Sox have lost over the last 2 months. But how many times I bet on them when they've lost. It really is just, like I said, me being a Red Sox fan, most people whose team is, 40-12, something at 45-12. I'd have to look it up, something goofy like that, right? Since the All-Star break and really just before the All-Star break. You would think me being a fan, man, I'd be cashing in the money. But as I told you before, no, man, I don't bet them. And then eventually, even when the picks we give out, right? How many times have I given out the Red Sox to you guys? Not that often. And I usually play those picks, which is why I don't give them to you. Meaning the Red Sox, even though they've been the hottest team in baseball, like I said, for the last 2 months. But I just know whenever I play them, they're not that good. The big poppy teams and, teams before that, they were good where you could bet on them and win. This team, they're kind of doing it with smoke and mirrors. And that great 35-6, I think it was, run, must have bet on them maybe 5-6 times. And if I went 3-3, I'd be lucky. I picked out every single freaking time they lost. They ended up losing a few more games when I played them about 2 weeks ago, right? Stopped playing them. They started winning again. They had won 5 in a row heading into last night, right? And I didn't bet them either game against the Marlins, and they made the great comebacks and everything. And last night I said, boy, they've won 5 in a row. They got Sonny Gray, their ace on the hill, and they got a full bullpen because Chapman and company, the main guys, didn't pitch the day before. So I knew they weren't going to be available Tuesday, but I knew they were all available. So we got our best pitcher, red hot team, and the full bullpen in essence. So I said, you know what? It's got to be. I'm going to bet, though. I'm going to break down and bet them. They're only minus 150 or so, 155, right? And lo and behold, they get shut out 5-0. I mean, it's just, I'm not going to bet them. I'm telling you right now, I will not bet them again the rest of the season. I already have a play on them anyway. It's one of the beauties of having these season win totals, whether it's baseball, football, whatever sport, right? When you have the over or the under, you have a play on them anyway. So are you automatically putting money into your bank account? No, but you do have a rooting interest betting-wise anyway. So I do have their over. We're more than likely going to get there. They only need about 10, 11, 12 more wins with 30 left. So it would take a minor miracle for them not to get there. But we have that bet. We have them to win the World Series from the beginning of the year as well. So I do have some plays on them regardless. But I'm telling you, I will not bet them unless I bet against them so they do win. I will not bet a Red Sox game from here on out, regular season. Postseason, maybe a different story. But the black cloud is just too strong with this Red Sox team. It's just, They can win 7 in a row, 8 in a row. Look, I'm not going to bet. Well, they're not playing tonight, but I'm not going to bet them this weekend. And you watch, they go 3-0. But let it happen. If that's the worst, I don't win money on it. Then so be it. I'd rather not win money, and have the Red Sox win than bet the Red Sox and have the Red Sox lose, because like I said, they had no business losing yesterday on paper. Right? They got their best pitcher. He's probably going to win the Cy Young. If everyone is legit anyway, he should win the Cy Young. And they still found a way to lose because I bet on him. So, getaway day. But we talk about this all the time. And I don't really play it too much. I do look at it and I make note of it. But yesterday, and Wednesdays and Thursdays are getaway days. Wednesday is generally the getaway day, and then Thursday is generally the off day. But it does, go back and forth, right? So the consensus thinking among bettors is guys get up to the plate. They got a plane to catch. They got to get to the next city. Maybe they're going home. They can't wait to get home. They've been on a long road trip. Let's just basically get this game over with, right? I deep down, I kind of believe that a little bit. But boy, this time of the year, when you have all these teams fighting for playoff spots, I don't really necessarily know if I buy into that wholeheartedly. But that said, yesterday, how many shutouts did we have yesterday? Tampa Bay 3-0 over Detroit. Arizona 2-0 over the Cubs. Philly 6-0 over the Phillies, or over the Mariners. Padres 3-0 over the Pirates. Marlins 4-0 over the Red Sox. Blue Jays 3-0 over Kansas City. We had the Rockies 13-1 and the Mets 8-1, but not a shutout. So that gives us 6 shutouts in how many games? 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the Thunder. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 games. 6. That's pretty good. And then you throw in, like I said, 2 more where the team's only scored 1 run. Does that and look at the hits. Tigers shut out 2 hits. Cubs shut out 2 hits. Marlins shut out 2 hits. Pirates shut out 5 hits. Red Sox 5 hits. Royals 6 hits. I mean, they're not even coming close to scoring. Is that a product of them just going up there swinging and saying, let's get the fudge out of town? I don't know, but it's not. It's not gotten lost on a lot of bettors that's what happens. And then today, getaway day, if you will, number 2. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games today. One's underway already. Washington 2-1 over the Rockies, so no shutout there. But let's see how many. In fact, how many unders hit yesterday, Scott? When everything is said and done, probably an even split. It was kind of like feast or famine. 3-0, 1 under, 2 under, 1 over, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, 7-3, 7-4, 7-5, 7-6, 7-7, 8-7. So again, if you played every single under with that philosophy, you lost money. You went 7-8. But the games either went way over 10-9, 9-3, 13-1, 6-5, 10-4, 8-7, 7-4, or it went way under. So you think you got an angle on things, and then it tends to implode, right in your face. So you just can't do a blanket. So anyway, Red Sox win or lose rather. Off today, and then they begin a series this weekend. Where are they this weekend? Here in New York, right, against the Stankies. So you got a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series, which, it's good that they have these series in September, but, with so much on the line, wild card wise, it's not, could the Red Sox sweep like they did the 4-game series before the All-Star break? Yeah, then they would catch them. If they win the next 3, they would leapfrog the Stankies for second place, like we kind of thought they would do when they were really playing great baseball. Now they're 2.5 back of the Stankies, 6 back of Tampa Bay. They probably won't catch Tampa Bay. They might be able to catch the Yanks, but when everything is said and done, they probably won't catch Tampa Bay, which is disappointing because that's going to be the number 1 seed. They're probably it's going to be one of those years, mark it down right now. I'm telling you right now, where you're going to get the argument, and I'm okay with it. I must say, I don't like this playoff baseball system. But how it works is the 2 best division winners get buys in the first round. They don't have to play with that stupid, best of 3. So what? Well, the key is the best 2 division winners, not the 2 teams with the best records. And your second place AL East team, whether it's the Stankies or Red Sox, are going to have a better record than the White Sox or Astros. So the White Sox and Astros, who are both, Astros literally 1 game under 500, White Sox 7 games over, but, the Stankies are 18 games over. So, again, they're not going to catch them. So a White Sox team that figures to be 4, 5, 6 games maybe over 500 is going to get a bye. And a Stanky team and a Red Sox team that are close to 20 games over 500 are going to have to play in those goofy best of 3s. And that's where people are going to be yelling and screaming. And that's why I'm happy. You know what? I'm foreseeing the future. I know it's going to happen, and especially because it's going to be New York and or Boston. Imagine both those teams. I mean, literally, the third place team in the AL East is going to have a better record than the AL West and AL North Central Division winner. Maybe that'll prompt a change. I hope so, because I don't like this format. I think it's dumb. You play 162 games, and then then maybe you win your division, right? As one of these 2 will, and then you have to play a best of 3, or you finish close to 20 games, over 500, but you happen to be in a division with the best team in your league, and you have to play a best of 3, while another team, literally the Astros. I mean, I really hope at this point the Astros do win the division with a losing record. They're going to have a losing record, and they get a second round bye, depending on what the White Sox do, right? Or a first round bye. But anyway, a good weekend of baseball, which is really the last hurrah, right? Football starts the following week with college football, then the NFL the week after that, and then we're getting into it. And then once football starts, man, especially the NFL, take a back seat. We won't have to deal with the WNBA ever again, not until next year. No one will pay a rat's behind about it. You could have a massive brawl, wigs being pulled off, shirts being pulled off be a little different. But anything short of that, no one's going to care anymore. Enos Kanter gets to start, whatever. He gets kicked out of a game, whatever. Angel Reese gets into a fight with Caitlin Clark, whatever. You know what? You had your 15 minutes of fame. You basically pissed it away, and now the NFL is here. So shame on you guys for having your season so late. Speaking of the NFL, hopping right into it here, they canceled the Pro Bowl. not a big deal in my world, and certainly probably not in the NFL, which is why they're doing it. Players just didn't want to play. I mean, it's more of a knock on them. I get it. You could blow your knee out, but man, you can blow your knee out. That's why I told you before. I've said it many times. If a guy gets hurt in the preseason, there are no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no me looking back and saying, "What are you doing?" Outside of extreme cases, an Aaron Rodgers, Joey B, who sneezes and he gets hurt. Outside of situations like that, but other than that, Drake May plays. Whoever, pick any other guy. Bo Nix plays. Joe Schmo plays and he gets hurt. It is what it is. It's a brutal sport. It's a tough sport. We've seen plenty of guys go down in practice. That's why most of these guys aren't even practicing. I don't believe any of these guys are injured for a second. I really don't. The Mike Evans of the world, or the Myles Garrett of the world, who hasn't practiced in over 2 weeks. I don't think they're really injured. I really don't. Maybe a bump and a bruise. Who cares? They're just so afraid of getting hurt. And if you're going to feel that way about the practice, then the regulars or the exhibition games, it's the same thing. So if you want to, knock yourself out. And the players don't want to, and then they don't want to play in the Pro Bowl because they're afraid they're going to get hurt. No one bought into the flag football, which I'm a little surprised with the emergence, and that might be too strong of a word, but with the growing ever so slowly popularity of flag football, especially with the women, I would have thought maybe, just maybe, the players and fans would have bought into the flag football, but nah. Yeah, they don't want it. So there's not much you can do. I'd rather have them decide it's not worth it, we don't want to play it, than do what the WNBA or do what the NBA players do and make a mockery of the game by not playing any defense at all. If that's the case, then I just as soon cancel the NBA All-Star game as well, to tell you the truth. And they're on the verge of probably doing that. Maybe the NFL opens up the I kind of doubt it, because one thing about the All-Star game in baseball and the All-Star game in hockey and the All-Star game in the NBA, they make money. They get paid big bucks to televise that home run derby and the baseball All-Star game and NHL and NBA especially, whereas the NFL, no one paid attention to it. It was at the end of the season, and people just didn't care. They tried everything. Give them credit. They tried playing it before the Super Bowl, the weekend before, which I thought was a pretty good idea. That didn't catch on. They tried this flag football. That didn't catch on. They tried, everything possible, players drafting teams and everything. Just ultimately, the players didn't buy in. No one from Hawaii was going to the game, and then if there was no buzz for it, then there's just no point of having it there. So I don't know how much money the NFL had to eat to cancel this thing. Maybe none. I mean, when you think about, I've told you this about these award ceremonies, right? I mean, these people aren't flying to these sites on their own. I know the last couple of years it was in Hawaii, but I think maybe it was down in Bahamas or Florida the last year or two. But you got to fly all the players. You got to fly their families. You got to put them up. You got to feed them and everything else. That comes with a hefty paycheck. It does. And the NFL probably just said it's just for something they don't want. Fans aren't buying into it. So what's the point? So that's that. So no more Pro Bowl. But maybe I'm sure somewhere along the line, it'll probably make a comeback. It'll be one city will say, hey, let's go out there and try this. And maybe the players will buy in. With everything else, like in the NBA, offer up a ton of money. That's it. Although they've even tried to do that, they've upped the salaries or the winning prizes for the winning players on the winning teams, and even that didn't work. So, but I don't think anybody's losing sleep over it. To tell you the truth, it's just more of us. Wow, they actually did it. Like they actually did something that, maybe, dare I make this suggestion? If they're willing to accept defeat with the Pro Bowl, would it be too crazy of a notion to think that maybe they'll accept defeat with preseason games and just get rid of them without adding another regular season game? I mean, is that possible that they actually have come to their senses on everything in the NFL? Probably not, because that they're losing out on. So I kind of doubt that. They did reveal yesterday, as the pendulum goes back and forth, that players who leave the NFL to return to college, like some of these guys have done this year, will not be allowed to come back into the league this season. So they end up getting cut by whoever. They want to go back to college. Maybe there's a college that won't take them. Maybe they're going back for NIL money and it's not there. And they say, all right, you know what? I got the Buffalo Bills who are willing to sign me to a rookie contract. Rather go make $5 million over here, but if I can't, and I can only make $300,000 over here, well, I'll go back to the NFL then. The NFL says no, you can't do that. Once you leave, you can do it next year, but for this season, you're ineligible. Which I guess I'm okay with that. I mean, but I will say they are being cut. It's not like they're all just voluntarily leaving their respective NFL teams and saying, let me go, coach. They are being cut, and that's what's needed for them to go back to college. So I wouldn't have a big problem with it. Most of these guys are going to be obscure players that, none of us have ever heard of, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, something goofy like that. So I wouldn't have had a problem with that, but it would have made them more, I think now they're finally, worried about making a mockery of the game. Same thing with the colleges. The Big 12 yesterday joined the SEC and the Big 10, and I'm assuming the ACC will be next in line about not allowing players back in. I don't know how they're going to do this, though. I really don't. The courts, the U.S. courts have said these players can go back to college. So I don't know how these conferences think they could say, well, they're not coming back to our conference, though. You can't do that. You can't tell the U.S. government, no, we're not going to believe in your ruling. We're going to make our own rulings. So what's next, right? What's next is a lawsuit. I mean, if these three conferences and maybe the ACC, maybe some of the others all say no, then I can't help some of these guys saying, all right, we went to court to win our right to go back to college. And then we'll have to go to court again, I suppose, to sue these conferences for not allowing us in. I mean, you can't have that kind of collusion. You can't have the court saying yes, and then you guys, the conferences, saying no. I know it's yes realistically, but you're not allowed to sign these guys. You can't do that. I don't know how their lawyers have not told them that, but I mean, that's as simple as 1, 2, 3. That's pretty basic, right? But that's what they're saying. So a lot to get to. They made some, not new rules, but re-emphasized some of the rules, which I really don't think were really, that big a deal. The horse collar tackle and a few of the others. We'll go over that. We got some more college football news to get to. We got a college football, believe it or not. 1AA, if you will, action later on tonight. How about the NFL maybe prop of the year? From what a player told us yesterday. RG3 has some news on the Cleveland Browns situation, at least according to him. We'll go back in time with Nicky Quick, former Miami Dolphins head coach, if you haven't forgotten about that. And the golfing world and WNBA world, boy, the laughter just doesn't end with the goofiness from both those respective sports. We'll get to all that stuff. We got some picks. We got preseason games tonight. We'll let you know who's playing, who's not supposed to play. All coming up. First up, though, let's take a quick little break. Jeff Dawson, EastCoastSportsInvestors.com. EastCoastSportsInvestors.com will join us, and he'll give us some winners from some of the games later on tonight. That's next right here on the Scott Wetzel Show.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there. Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the J.P. Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream. fanstreamsports.com.
Hey folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tomstown, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka, named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tomstown, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly. Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go!
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
And welcome back. It is the Scott Wetzel Show on a Thursday edition right here on FanStreamSports.com, FanStreamSports.com. Plenty to get to, including words that got Don Imus fired, now being embraced by the WNBA, apparently anyway. We got some NFL notes, we got some college football notes, baseball notes to get to, and some golf and a little ping pong on our table, pardon the pun, as well. First up, though, let's welcome in our good buddy from East Coast SportsInvestors.com, Jeff Dawson. What's going on, Jeff? How are you this Thursday afternoon?
Ping pong. I majored in ping pong at Bridgewater State way back in the day. I grew up with a butterfly paddle in my hand. You're talking my language.
Nice. So did I. We had a pool table down in our basement, and then we used to put the ping pong table on top of that. And that nasty backhand, boy, I was pretty good at it. I same thing. Only when you see these guys play, it's like, holy fudge. I don't know if it's real or not, but yeah, good old ping. That is an underrated sport, Jeff. Ping pong. It really, it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot, actually. So. Don't know if you're betting on any ping pong matches tonight, but we got some preseason football. We'll start there. NFL is king. I forgot. I mentioned earlier I'd been to a funeral yesterday, and I kind of lost track of everything. I knew there were games obviously this weekend. I didn't realize we actually had games today, but don't worry, I'm here. We're gonna just refine the camera. But anything on the exhibition slate for you tonight?
I'm looking at the 4 games, some opening numbers, looking for some movers for everyone watching here. Hasn't been a lot of movement that we thought. This used to be the week, the dress rehearsal. Starters played the full first half, came back for the first series in the second half. This is just bubble wrap. the guys fighting for their lives. Sunday, 6 o'clock is the final cut. So not a lot of movement. I'll walk right through the games here. Buffalo hosting Pittsburgh. They opened up at 1.5, now 2.5 with a 34.5. First one to 17 wins that game there. The Patriots traveled to Cleveland. Pats opened up 1.5, now 2.5 with a 35.5. Again, first one to 17 wins that game there. Slight lean to Cleveland, not knowing which quarterback is going to be playing. Obviously, Drake May will not, so I wouldn't worry about that. San Fran and at Vegas. San Fran opened at 2, now 3.5. At the Circa, 2.5 at Calci. Obviously, no Ashton Genty. How much will Michael Washington Jr. play there? Lob in the backfield. They try to get that backfield squared up there as well. A 38 there. So first one to 21 wins that one, Scotty. And then Rams and Chargers, 3.5 with a 39.5. Now a flat 3 minus 20 cents. 38.5. Again, Rams getting ready to go to Australia. I think unlike San Francisco, San Fran's going to get there a week early. McVay's going to take them as late as possible there. Would lean the Chargers here. But again, last game, not a lot of feeling here right now, Scotty.
Yeah, these are tough, right, Jeff? It's amazing. I'm glad there's only 3, and realistically, there probably should be 1 or 2. First ones are okay because we're all geeked up. Oh, the NFL is back, the greatest thing. Okay, let's bet it because it's the NFL. I'm so sick and tired of baseball and WNBA, right? Second one, to a lesser extent, you got to kind of feel for some of these teams, I suppose. But these third ones, they are really tough. Like, who knows who's playing, who's not playing? Like, a lot of these things, you have to do your research with these preseason games, but it's really tough. You say the Rams got to go to Australia next week. You think they're worried about the LA Chargers? But then you got to lay 3.5. San Fran's got so many issues now off the field between their head coach and owner. What are their heads like? It's tough to read how good players are, Jeff, let alone what's going through their minds and how good the backups are. So these third games, they're real tough. They really are. I wouldn't put a whole lot of money. You put some money because you want some action on it, right? But nothing crazy.
I think I'm doing more work for the high stakes fantasy end than I am for the betting edge here. Hopefully my players that I've already drafted in some of these leagues don't get hurt. So again, I'm really hoping just get in, stay healthy. I was in a draft, Scott, on Sunday that I moved up Ashton Genty, and next thing you know, he's done for the year. The teams around him saying prayers, and luckily in the 7th round, I got Michael Washington Jr. Everyone was scratching their heads like, why are you drafting him 10 rounds early? Well, at least I know, Scott, they don't follow social media as close as I do.
There you go. How about this then? I read yesterday or last night that Lamar Jackson kind of excused last year's running game as he was hurt all season. That's why he didn't run. Now he's got a new head coach. I'm not sure if they're going to let him run even more or are they going to pull him back even more. But they gave a number for him rushing, 600 yards. He's hit that in 7 of his 8 years that he's played in the bigs. In the 1 year he missed last year because he missed 4 games. So you want to buy into Lamar Jackson? And if so, does that mean he's going to go crazy this year and run like he used to? Because if he does, he'll eclipse 600 yards.
This is the hardest team, I think, for anyone to figure out. New head coach, new regime. They're under over. Everyone's betting the under. What is it, 11.5?
Yeah.
They're like the 3rd favorite to win the Super Bowl, never mind the AFC. I think you got to just read what the market's telling us. I think he will go over that. The last month, 6 weeks when he came back, he didn't want to run the ball. We know his passing efficiency is not the greatest. So offensively, I think they're 2nd projected behind the Lions, who have the easiest schedule we know and play 95% of their games in a dome or controlled settings. So I'm going to buy into Lamar. I'm going to buy that over. I got a 2-horse race with them and the Bengals to win that division. I'm buying stock in the Ravens because everyone's going on the under 11.5. I'm going to zig while they zag, Scott.
All right. How about that? Since we're on fantasy stuff, then how about Travion Henderson, your guy up here in New England? Ran for 911 yards last year, rookie season, right? Clearly the number one guy over Stevenson. They got his number at 700. He ran for 911 last year. He's not old, obviously. I mean, you would think he'd only get better. I know it's a tougher schedule, but is Henderson not going to run for 700 yards after running for over 900 last season?
I'll give you the full skinny from Foxborough.
All right.
And here's the truth as we say it here. He doesn't see the holes well. There was a guy in Cleveland, and I forget his name. He'll come to me after the show. I'm not saying the game's too fast for him. He had 4 touchdowns over 50 yards. He is electric when he gets to open space. The problem, Scott, is he has a hard time seeing that first hole. Vrabel likes Stevenson, and the reason Stevenson got so much action last year is he stopped fumbling. So until Travion Henderson, A, picks up the blitz better, number one, you can't get Drake May sacked, and B, starts seeing those holes and open spaces better, it's a 50-50 split. Now, if Stevenson starts fumbling the ball, then you're going to see a 60-40, 65-35 to the Henderson side. But right now, Scott, I know that number looks low for a reason. Until Henderson starts hitting the gaps, I would lean the under. I'll say that, unless Stevenson starts coughing the ball up.
All right. Yeah. So as I was saying, last week when we brought up some of these numbers, there's got to be a reason why they are what they are. And if you delve into the local community, you find out some of those reasons versus just from the outside saying, man, the guy had over 900 last year. Second year, he's got to get better. Why wouldn't he? But apparently he might not then. So, all right. How about that? Any other fantasy stuff? I got my fantasy draft next week. I don't do too much fantasy, but we have one on the podcast that I joined. But what's your big fantasy play?
Oh, I hate to say it this way, but I have 20. Oh, I'm still here, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We just had a power freeze. I apologize.
That's right.
I've done 23 slow drafts already, 30 rounders. Wow. What I will tell you is the first 2 is automatic. It's either Gibbs or Bijan, and then 3 through 6 were all yellows. Whether you're a Chase guy, you're a Puka guy, you're a JSN guy, or a St. Brown. St. Brown is the safest first round pick, I think, in the first round, the safest play. I'm a Omari and Hampton guy in the Chargers later in the first round. And I'll tell you, I am going to tip my hand right now. I am taking A.J. Brown over CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson right now.
Wow.
He has not seen a quarterback of Drake May, whether it was in Tennessee or Jalen Hurts. We're chomping at the bit here. May is going to take the big stride in the third year here, his second year with Josh McDaniels. Schedule is a lot harder, as you said, but that combination of May to Brown, if you got a chance to get A.J. Brown, make sure you get Drake May, sir.
Wow. How about that? All right. So you expected monster numbers out of A.J. Brown. Interesting. I got some college football this weekend. There's actually a couple of games, Jeff. I know we have your picture is frozen, but that's okay. As long as we can hear you. Rather have it that way. We got some games this weekend that aren't, too bad, whether it's the first game on the board, the North Carolina TCU game. I really like that North Carolina State Virginia game. Oddity in that you would think it would be an ACC conference game, but it's actually not for whatever reason. North Dakota State and Jacksonville State, we're going to get a sense of will North Dakota State be able to hang with the big boys first year up with the big league after being in 1AA. So give me your thoughts on this weekend's games, if anything.
I'm going to start. We did a little emailing. I'm going to start tonight at 6:00. One of the FCS games. Mercyhurst versus Youngstown State. Now,
nice.
This opened up 53.5 and 26.5. It is now 57.5 and 30.5. This number was bouncing this morning when we got to it. So again, I expect Youngstown State to cover the 26.5, which is nowhere to be found. And I do expect it to go over the 53.5, which is nowhere to be found. But now 57.5. So anyone interested in that one, I know a lot of the sharps are on the over. So if your book was sleeping at the wheel and you can still get a 56 or somewhere in there, fine. And again, the 23.5 is now 26.5 is gone. Now 30.5. I like Youngstown State to cover that. But again, whether you're at a 27-28, don't go to 31 on that one there. The big game you're talking about in Dublin on Saturday, something smells real bad to me on this one. And what it does is that number opened at 6.5 with a 50.5. The whole world was betting the under and is still betting the under. Now it's 9.5 and TCU. So you've missed your spot to bet TCU, but I like the over in this game here right now. And I'm going to pull it up right now. It is 46.5. I think they're going to get to 47 or better here. Belichick has always been a slow starter in the NFL, now in college. A lot of turmoil going on with Lombardi gone and his son, Steve Belichick, gone. They bring in Bobby Petrino as the OC there. So I think they're going to be a lot better than their 50-something to 20-something loss last year to them. Think it's going to be competitive. I like the over there. And if that thing goes to 10, I will sprinkle some beer and pizza on UNC catching the 10 as well, Scott.
That is a big number, right? And boy, you're right. The whole war, I think that opened up at either 5.5 or maybe 6.5. And, the more and more anti-North Carolina stuff, news-wise, that comes out, the higher and higher it goes. And I see it 9.5 in some circles. I like the over, too. I mean, just listen, 46.5 for a college football game. Not like the old days. They would have had that after halftime. But still, that is a pretty low number, right? I mean, I get a Belichick defense, but the defense, their offense was so bad last year. I can't help but think that, he made enough changes, to turn that offense around, and they're good for 20 points. And I think TCU is good for 27. So I'm with you with that one. So interesting situation, what we'll call it, in the WNBA tonight. Got Golden State played last night in nearby Connecticut, blew out the Sun, blowout from start to finish. They play tonight here in New York. Not a far trip, and the starters didn't have to go, pardon the pun, balls out. But they do play back-to-back days. And then we got Washington beating Phoenix, Tuesday, and they're playing Phoenix again tonight. So you got two games tonight in the WNBA. Both got some betting angles. Are you biting on any of them?
Golden State looked real good, not playing obviously a strong Connecticut team. I think the UConn Huskies with Gino could have put up a better fight than the Connecticut Sun there. So again, I mean, when do you catch the Liberty at 2.5? If you wanted to dive in, I would take the Liberty money line. I don't want them to win by 1 or 2 here, so I would lean Liberty money line there. And then the other game again, zig while they zag. Washington already beat them. It's a 4.5 at Calshi right now. I take a shot with Phoenix in the points here, Scott. Hope they keep it close. It's a 166.5. So basically, you need Phoenix to get to 80 today. So some spots you could get their team total over 79.5, 80. So if you wanted to be cute and your book offers team totals, take a look at the Phoenix team total over their number of 79.5, 80, 80.5.
All right. And anything in baseball today? I know it's getaway day. Not too many games today. A couple already underway. Anything on the plate tonight?
The one that the money's coming in, and they're the worst team in baseball, or one of them, is San Francisco today. Here comes Arizona, who we had yesterday. Coming off a nice series that they're in that playoff hunt. Still no Ketel Marte. They travel to San Francisco. If you had San Francisco last night against Cincinnati, pour a shot out for them. Give up 7 in the 9th. Blow a 6-run lead. Yet they were short dogs. Now they're basically a pick 'em. So this is the stench of the night, Scott. Roop for San Francisco minus 105 against Arizona. Just set it and forget it. Don't look. Wake up in the morning, check your account, and hope it's the plus side.
That's the way to go on some of these. Between the Phillies comeback Sunday, scored, what was it, 6 runs with 2 out, and then the Reds scored the 7 runs, as you mentioned last night. Well, that's just tough if you're on the wrong side of things. All right, tell me about your daily email that you send out, and what do you got going on with EastCoastSportsInvestors.com for the viewers?
Yeah, we have a couple things, and we're great. We're going to start doing a nice little partnership or collaboration with you and your team starting hopefully next week. I've been sending you the ECSI Journal. What that is basically the Wall Street Journal through the eyes of ECSI in the sports market. The latest numbers, the biggest moves, our thoughts on the market sent to your email every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. and on Sunday mornings so you can digest that. We also have an ECSI VIP experience where we give out all our picks and plays and our thoughts and market report there for as little as $99 a month. We're going to put together some college and football just players that want to get all the way through the Super Bowl, which is, of course, on Valentine's Day this year, and give out all our futures and stuff. So we'll EastCoastSportsInvestors.com, and anyone will be starting to send out some emails and some full season packages as well. So we try to accommodate everyone's budget and everyone's flavor, Scott.
There you go. Like I said, feel free to join them. EastCoastSportsInvestors.com. Check it out. And no doubt Jeff will work with you. Just mentioned the Scott Wetzel Show for sure. So, Jeff, as always, a pleasure. Stay safe with those storms coming your way. We're dealing with them here in Long Island as well. So be good. And then we'll talk again next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Sorry for the power surge. Hopefully that's the storm on the way, sir.
Yep, we're getting it. We're getting it soon enough. So appreciate it, Jeff. Again, Jeff Dawson. But EastCoastSportsInvestors.com. I told you the weather here on the East Coast, and that's something to consider. You know, a lot of these NFL teams play in domes, or they're playing sites where it's not affected, or if the weather's not that bad, even the teams aren't affected that much. But that is not the case in college football. These quarterbacks don't have the arm strengths that they do in the NFL. The coaches go conservative. The NFL head coach, generally doesn't change their game plan too much, but I can't help but think, the coaches of some of these, I'll call them 1AA. That's what they are in my mind. I'll go old school. But the coaches in these 1AA teams, they realize, the quarterback at Towson tonight, or the quarterback for Mercyhurst or Austin P or Gardner Webb is not having the arm strength of Joey Burrow and Dan Marino, right? So they can't throw in the wind. They can't throw in the rain. So they do get extra conservative. So he's in Cape Cod. I'm on Long Island. We're getting it now. He's getting it now. Some of these games start at 6 o'clock today. I think they bumped up some of them time-wise, but look for the ones that are on the East Coast. Georgetown, that's down in D.C. Towson, that's in Maryland. What else would be? Nichols is down south. Where's Lindenwood? I think that's South Carolina. But there are a couple on the slate. Villanova, that's tomorrow. That's on the East Coast. So you try to keep it obviously for tonight. But there's 2 or 3 there.
Missouri, Scott.
Missouri. I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have guessed, Missouri. Really? Lindenwood is in Missouri. How about that? Okay. I would have guessed South Carolina just because they were playing Charleston Southern, which I know is in South Carolina. So my educated guess gets thrown out the window. But there's 2 or 3. Like I said, the Georgetown game for sure. The Towson game for sure is on the East Coast. Those 2 in particular. You'll check the weather for later on tonight. The Towson game starts at 6, and then the Georgetown game starts at 7. And if the weather is bad, man, hit those unders, because it's going to be sloppy and they won't be able to move the football, and the coaches will go, like I said, ultra conservative. Unlike in the NFL where they just generally speaking, don't care. So be careful about stuff like that. All right. So check out his website, eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. More NFL stuff as far as they put out the word about emphasizing and being a referee. You get this all the time, like every year, literally. I do high school basketball, right? And they always come out with these rules that are rules, but they say, we're going to emphasize this. And I know you're supposed to call every single play, but we all know that doesn't happen, right? So they say, we want to emphasize on holding. We want to emphasize on traveling or whatever the case may be. So that's what the NFL is doing. I don't think there really was an issue with it. I think it's more of just they want to punish people, and they're punishing them. So they want to crack down on hip drop tackles. I don't even know what the fudge that is. Grabbing a guy by the hip and then falling to the ground. You can't do that. I get the horse collar. They don't want to drag someone from behind. Launching, I get that. They don't want you to torpedo, your guy. But that's what these are so subjective. Some of these anyway. Hit on a defense's player. We've seen that. That's where the guy is like running down the field, and then here comes a blocker, and he's looking to the left, and the blocker's coming to the right, and he could really get crushed. I'm okay with that, as long as it's egregious. And that's kind of blindside block is almost the same thing, right? So they want to emphasize on stuff like that. Like I said, I don't remember too many games where they missed those. It's more of, all right, they set the rules. When you do these things, anybody that commits 3 offenses is suspended a game. I think that's a pretty good leeway. I mean, you do, if you drop horse collar and tackle a guy, you're telling me it's so dangerous that you're allowed to do it twice without any really repercussions. Third, you got to do it 3 times. If you get, and then you get fined for each time you do it. If you only do 1, you get half your money back. They do seem to carry over. If I'm reading this right, it says, while violations in these categories will carry forward to subsequent seasons, everyone begins this year with a clean slate. So do you get this for your entire career then? That's it? That seems a little weird. Like I can have one in 2026, and then I can have one in 2030, and then one in 2035, and I'm going to get suspended again. I've done it 3 times in 8 years. That seems a little weird. I'd have to figure out the actual rules of that. But good they're trying. The NFL is at least trying. They're putting up the front that they're trying to make the game safer. When in reality, it's a brutal sport. These guys are so big that it's just no matter what you do, you could have these goofy crown helmets on. Who was the guy in the Flintstones? Gazoo. These big goofy helmets on. It is what it is. It's a brutal sport. These guys weigh 250 pounds. They can run like deer, and they're strong as bears. You're gonna get injuries. You just are. They know the rules. So. Big college football weekend. We got college football here. We got some games tonight, like we talked with Jeff. We got some better games over the weekend. Then the full slate starts the following weekend. We'll take a break, talk some college football. We got a new show here on FanStream Sports with my boy Joe Lisi. We'll talk to him next, get his thoughts on the college football season, and talk about his new show right here on the Scott Wetzel Show on FanStream Sports.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there. Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the JP Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream. fanstreamsports.com.
Hey folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tomstown, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka. Named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tomstown, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly. Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go! Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. It is the Scott Wetzel Show right here on FanStream Sports. Hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. Some breaking news. Seriously, I suppose, but it's not serious. But Callaway is ending its relationship with Good. What a joke. We'll get into that. Unbelievable. Boy, the woke community is just dominated. They are smiling big today, the woke community is. What an absolute farce. But we'll put that aside for a second. Let's talk a little college football. We got a new show here on FanStream Sports, hosted by the coach, Mr. Bowden, and our next guest, Mr. Joe Lisi. What's going on, Joe? How are you this Thursday afternoon?
No, Scott, the calm before the storm, per se, right? We've been talking about these week 0 games for what, a month and a half at least, and now we get to kick it off. We have FCS action tonight, but then those big games with Bill Belichick and Sonny Dykes on Saturday at noon. Can't wait.
Yeah. Tell me about the show you got going on here, and when can people listen and watch?
Yeah, so Bowden Ball, we did our first 2 episodes. It's Tuesday night and Friday night, tomorrow night, right before kickoff at 7 p.m. Coach and I talk about all the top 25 topics, picks, props, you name it. We have you prepped and ready for kickoff. And again, when you look at the landscape of college football as a whole, Scotty, I know it's Notre Dame, Ohio State, Georgia, but there's a number of different potential teams that maybe can make it to the playoff just the way Miami did last year and potentially steal the trophy. So we'll see how this season plays out.
All right. Who do you have as the non-power 4 team making it? Have you been able to figure all this stuff out, or you just let them play out?
No, I mean, you and I talked about it, and again, when we talk about group of 5 teams, again, there's a lot out there. You could still think Tulane, even though Summerall has moved on. I still like Army. Again, I said this to you, and again, they were 100-1 to advance to the second round of the playoffs, but they're a 13-1 shot. Scott, they don't play anybody. And I understand that might be a detriment, but if all these group of 5 teams are going to knock each other off and Army is undefeated and they knock off Navy at the end of the year, I mean, again, to me, I think they're deserving. I'm taking the 13-1 number on Army and Chase Helms to potentially get into the college football playoff this year.
It's not bad. Yeah, and I'll tell you, Joe, if it was Army, unlike Tulane or anybody else, the whole nation, can you imagine Trump? Yeah, how crazy Trump would be at the end of the year, knowing he could have a military school. There was no way in the world. If they actually ran the table, there's no way they could not put him in. No, I don't care if they played Topeka High 12 times. Trump would go nuts if they didn't get put in.
And not only that, Scott, from the football perspective, we talk about, the triple option on a short week early in the season when a team hasn't prepared for that all year. From the actual X's and O's, if they were able to get into a first-round matchup, the way, let's say, SMU got boat raced 2 years ago by Penn State, I actually think they would have a more competitive game because of the triple option. Again, you have to get there, but I still think from that aspect, it's deserving that 13-1 is pretty good value.
All right. Speaking of value, line is up to 9.5 in some circles for the TCU North Carolina game. That's the thing that kicks off the college football season for all intents and purposes Saturday afternoon at noon Eastern time. Over/under is down to 46.5. Your thoughts on that one?
So the reason why we're moving even more now, you look at the spread in the offseason, it was TCU minus 6.5, stayed steady. And then as we inched about a month out from kickoff, we got maybe 7s and now 7.5s. And now you're seeing it balloon up to 9.5 out in Vegas. You're seeing that because Bill Belichick's son is not going to travel with the team. He took a medical leave. He's the defensive coordinator. Again, you're seeing an overreaction of the market. I'm not buying into that. I'll just say this. They got abused last year. TCU knocked them around 48-14, and that was on primetime on Labor Day night, right? 48-14 TCU rushes for 258 on Bill Belichick in his first game as head coach of North Carolina, taking over from Mac Brown. Fast forward, the bullseye's on his back, right? He has to answer all these off-the-field questions with his son, Mike Lombardi. The program looks like it's in shambles. But if you buy into Belichick in any capacity, if you really think that he still has a little lightning left in the bottle, in a week 1 matchup with 6 months of preparation, right? You would think that from a defensive perspective, Bill is going to have that defense ready. It's a new quarterback, Jaden Craig, that comes from Harvard, new offensive coordinator for TCU, but also a new offensive coordinator for North Carolina. Think about this. North Carolina last year struggled throwing over the top. They have Bobby Petrino. They have a veteran quarterback in Billy Edwards that comes in from Maryland and Wisconsin. They have upperclassmen on the offensive line, and Bobby Petrino had one of the most explosive offenses in college football last year in Fayetteville. Again, 9.5 I think is way too much. TCU might win. I also don't believe it, but they might win. I like North Carolina with the points. I'm also taking them on the money line because of Belichick and because of a revenge spot in Ireland. Give me the points.
All right. That's the first game on the board. Let me go to the last game on the board because I really like this UNLV team, and I really don't like the Memphis team, Joe. They lost their head coach. They lost a ton of play. Only got like 1 or 2 starters back. I know it's been a pretty good program over the years. They're over under a 7.5. That's an 8-4 year for a brand new regime. And like I said, losing everybody from last year's club. I don't think they're going to hang with a halfway decent UNLV team. And I like the under-season win total for Memphis, which is, again, 7.5. What about you?
Okay, so we'll take a big picture. You might be right on the under 7.5 with Charles Huff that comes in from Marshall. He's a defensive-minded coach. So I might buy into that aspect. But you and I did the show on Saturday mornings for a long time, Scotty. We used to disagree all the time. I have to ask you this big question, okay? Line was 5.5 for much of the offseason. We're seeing 4.5s in the market. You've watched Jackson Arnold at Oklahoma and Auburn. You've also watched Alex Orji at Michigan. Are you buying into one of those quarterbacks with Dan Mullen, okay, in UNLV? I'll just say that. Look, I believe in Charles Huff. I know that Ryan Silverfield took a lot of the talent with him to Arkansas. I get that. But this is more of a bet against Orji or Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold, to me, is a deer in the headlights in a big spot. He's a mobile quarterback. I get it. You could go back to the tape against Baylor week number 1 when Auburn started 3-0. I understand he can run and put some pressure, but I like Huff catching points in this matchup. I think they strike the upset. I wouldn't call it an upset. Wow. Everybody loves UNLV this year. I get it. But let's not forget, a lot of the credit deserves to go to Barry Odom as opposed to Dan Mullen that took over that program when it was already in motion.
All right. We'll agree to disagree on that, but I'm going to buy into Jackson Arnold. There's not many more steps he could go. He's bounced around the league like nobody's business, right? So he's got to find some home he can have some success with. So ultimately, who do you have tearing down the Nets, if you will?
It's Georgia for me. I took him here in Jersey at plus 850. I think when you look at just the offense and defensive line play, if we're talking offseason, and I understand C.J. Carr and your Notre Dame deserving, at least on paper, to be there with Marcus Freeman and Ohio State with Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith. But you look at this team from Georgia, they got back to Georgia football last year. They ran for 183 yards on the ground, only gave up 81 rushing yards per game. Every time Georgia rushes for over 200, dating back to 2016, 51-1 straight up. The only game they lost, Scotty, came last year in Athens when they dropped that game to Kalen DeBoer in Alabama, 24-21. They rushed for 227, and they snapped their 33-game home winning streak. They were 6-1 on the road last year and won those games by an average margin of victory of 10.8 points per game. And I'll say this. I know everybody loves Arch Manning. Everybody loves C.J. Carr. But a quarterback that has similar numbers is Gunnar Stockton. 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 73% completion percentage at home, 69% on the road. And oh, by the way, he has 10 rushing touchdowns. I think he could get up to 12, 14 this year. I like Georgia early on. That would be the only team preseason I'm willing to buy in at an 8-1 number.
Yeah, that is a pretty good number too for Georgia, right? I mean, you get Georgia at almost 10-1, 8.5-1. That really, that's going to come down. I don't know if Ohio State or Notre Dame or whatever will come down, but that one definitely would with a couple of wins. So I'm with you there. So, Joe, great job, man. Do appreciate it. I know you got the Bowden Blitz again Tuesdays and Fridays with Coach Bowden. So
7 p.m., Scotty. Yep, 7 p.m. And maybe we'll have you come on, break down one of the slates weekly there if your big schedule permits. And I'll just say this: I never recognized the backdrop. That's you out there, plucking the flowers there with the. Leave it to you to put yourself out there with the referee jersey. I love you.
Who else am I going to put up there? By the way, I know. Yeah, I feel like what's his name? Khan in the gambler there as he goes into the movie theaters and he's asking his buddy, give me a winner. I know you're sitting on an FCS winner tonight. I know you are. Give me a winner tonight. I got to get under the number here.
I'll tell you what. I won't give you an FCS winner. I'll give you a winner potentially. We talked about it. I like Virginia on Saturday, but I like the total in Hawaii Stanford. Keep an eye out for that. That total could get into the 50s. I believe I might alt it on Saturday night in Palo Alto.
Going over or going under?
Over 48.5.
Yeah, 48.5.
Yep.
All right, cool.
All
Joe,
right.
Great job, man. Do appreciate it. Check out the Bowden Blitz with Joe and Coach Bowden every Tuesday and Friday right here on FanStream Sports. Thanks, Joe.
Love the show, Scotty. Good luck.
Thanks, man.